the night sky burned like fire. A glowing object tore through the darkness, brighter than any star. It moved fast, too fast. People across the world looked up, phones in hand, recording what they thought was a meteor. But it was not. It was something far greater, and far more dangerous. Inside that falling light was a ship, the Void Whisper, a massive alien vessel from the distant stars. On its bridge, Captain Thex-9 stared at screens full of red warnings. His 4 eyes moved quickly from one display to another. Main engines offline, his engineer shouted. Breach on decks 3 through 7. Life support failing. Thex-9's voice was calm but heavy. Seal the lower decks. Redirect all power to the shields. Sparks flew from the control panels. The crew worked in silence, their faces pale under the red light. The captain already knew the truth. The Void Whisper was dying. He looked at the blue-green planet below. It was small, peaceful, and silent, untouched by the wars of the galaxy. His people, the Zephyrians, had marked this world as primitive. The beings there were not ready for the stars. They had no idea what was coming toward them. Abandoned ship, Thex-9 said quietly. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The crew obeyed. They all knew this would be their final order. Outside, the ship broke through the clouds, flames wrapping around its silver hull. The sound of screaming metal filled the cabin. Through the viewing window, Thex-9 saw endless forests rushing up to meet them. Brace for impact. The ship hit the ground like a hammer from the heavens. A wall of fire swept through the trees. Mountains trembled. The sky turned red with smoke. When it was over, silence returned, broken only by the hiss of burning metal. Inside the wreck, Thex-9 struggled to his feet. The bridge was in ruins. Consoles sparked. Smoke filled the air. He coughed and looked around. Report, he said. Only 17 survivors, his engineer whispered. Quantum core cracked. Gravity drives destroyed. Thex-9 closed his eyes. The engines that once carried them across galaxies were now nothing more than twisted steel. His proud ship, his home for 15 years, was dead. He walked through the corridors slowly. The lights flickered weakly. Broken tools floated in zero-gravity pockets. The science labs were shattered. The medical bay was full of leaking coolant. Every step echoed with the sound of loss. He stopped near a wall made of glowing crystal metal, technology his people had spent centuries perfecting. Even now, it vibrated faintly, trying to heal itself. Thex-9 ran his hand along it and felt the warmth beneath the cold surface. Even dying, he whispered, you try to live. The engineer appeared beside him. Captain, the self-destruct, it can still be activated, but power is too low. Only 30% function. Thex-9 thought for a long moment. Do it, he said. We cannot leave our technology for these primitives to find. The order was carried out. A soft hum filled the air as the self-destruct began. But with so little power it would never finish the job. Thex-9 knew that too. He told himself it didn't matter. Even if something survived, these humans would never understand it. Hours passed. The forest burned quietly outside. A shadow appeared in the sky, another Zephyrian ship, Star's Edge, arriving to rescue them. Captain Vel-12 appeared through the transporter beam. Thex-9, he said, the council needs your report. Later, Thex-9 replied, his voice tired. First, get my crew off this world. As the survivors were evacuated, Thex-9 stood on the ground one last time, staring at the wreck of his beloved ship. The hull still glowed faintly under the moonlight. The ground around it shimmered with small fragments of crystal metal, alive, pulsing slowly, repairing themselves even after the blast. He felt a strange pull in his chest, a whisper through the wind as if the ship was calling out to him. Then he turned away. Within moments he was gone, vanished into the light of the rescue beam. Silence returned to the valley. Smoke curled into the air. And beneath the earth, deep inside the broken heart of the Void Whisper, something continued to move. The quantum crystals pulsed brighter, repairing piece by piece. They were not dead. They were waiting. Days later, a group of humans arrived at the crash site. Soldiers, scientists, and one young engineer named Eli Turner. He looked at the blackened trees, at the massive trench in the ground. Nothing human could make this, he said softly. The others began collecting samples, taking photos, setting up tents. But Eli wandered closer to the center of the crater. Something caught his eye, a piece of metal glowing faintly under the dirt. He knelt down, brushed away the soil, and picked it up. It felt warm, almost alive. The surface shimmered like liquid light. What is this thing? He whispered. Behind him, the trees swayed though there was no wind. The metal fragment pulsed once, a slow heartbeat of light. No one noticed. But far beneath the valley floor, in the silent body of the alien ship, a faint sound began to echo through the corridors, a soft mechanical breath. It was the sound of awakening. Fade to black. Suspense music rises. They thought it was over. But the real story had only just begun. Weeks passed after the crash. The forest valley had turned quiet again, though the air still carried the faint smell of burned metal. Authorities sealed off the area, calling it a meteor impact site, but scientists knew something unusual had happened. The readings were impossible: residual energy, electromagnetic surges, and radiation patterns that didn't match any human technology. A research base was soon established near the crater. Tents, lights, and heavy equipment surrounded the twisted wreck. Military personnel patrolled the perimeter, while scientists worked day and night to study every fragment. Among them was Eli Turner, the young engineer who had found the first glowing fragment. His discovery had caught the attention of the government, and now he led a small technical team. Every night, he reviewed sensor data and analyzed the strange metal that seemed to resist all attempts at understanding. The material wasn't steel, titanium, or any known alloy. It changed shape slightly when exposed to heat. When electricity touched it, the surface shimmered as though alive. Instruments failed to identify its molecular structure. Eli kept the first fragment on his desk, sealed in a glass case. Sometimes, when the room went dark, he thought he saw faint lines of light moving within it, like veins. One evening, the power in the research camp flickered. The lights dimmed and returned after a few seconds. No one noticed that the small fragment on Eli's desk glowed brighter for a moment, then faded again. The next day, excavation teams uncovered a larger section of the alien hull buried deep beneath the soil. It was massive, dozens of meters wide. The metal was smooth, cool, and unmarked despite the crash. When they connected it to human power sources for analysis, every generator in the camp overloaded. The lead scientist, Dr. Helen Rhodes, ordered all systems shut down. "Whatever this is," she said, "it reacts to energy. We need to be careful." But curiosity pushed them forward. The team tried low-power signals next. This time, the metal absorbed the current and began to emit a low, rhythmic vibration, like a slow heartbeat. Eli stood near the hull, watching his instruments. The readings were unstable. "It's doing something," he said. "It's alive." "Machines aren't alive," one soldier muttered. Eli didn't answer. He wasn't sure anymore. Over the following nights, strange events occurred around the site. Tools moved slightly from where they were left. Lights flickered when no one touched the controls. The sound of faint mechanical humming came from deep within the buried sections. Satellite surveillance picked up weak radio signals coming from the valley. The frequency matched nothing in any known database. To the scientists, it sounded like random static. But to the surviving fragments of the alien ship, it was communication. A signal between damaged systems slowly rebuilding themselves. Inside the wreckage, unseen by human eyes, the quantum crystals continued their silent work. Broken conduits reconnected. Circuits healed. The remnants of the Void Whisper's core tried to restore their memory. Eli began to piece together fragments of alien writing etched on recovered panels. The symbols were complex, but he managed to decode a few patterns. One translation stood out: Void Whisper, Command Core. His excitement grew. "This isn't debris," he told Dr. Rhodes. "This is the main section of a starship." That night, heavy rain fell across the valley. Power cables sparked as lightning struck nearby hills. The camp systems overloaded again. For several minutes, every computer and camera shut down. When they restarted, new data filled the screens, data no one had entered. A message appeared on Eli's monitor: "System restoration, 12%. He froze. "Who sent this?" he asked. No one answered. The message disappeared, replaced by static, but the power readings from the buried ship surged sharply. Something deep beneath the earth had awakened. The next morning, military command ordered a temporary evacuation. The scientists protested, wanting to continue their research, but soldiers forced everyone to leave the central crater for safety. Eli returned to his tent to collect his equipment. The small fragment in the glass case was glowing brighter than ever. He reached out instinctively, and the moment his fingers touched the glass, a sharp pulse of energy ran through the camp. Every light and machine activated at once. From the crater came a sound like thunder, a deep, metallic roar. The ground shook. Trees bent under the force of the vibration. Dr. Rhodes shouted over the noise, "It's reactivating. Move back." Dust and soil exploded into the air as large panels of alien metal lifted themselves, forming new shapes. Broken sections aligned as if guided by invisible hands. Sparks of blue light spread across the valley floor. Eli fell to his knees, staring at the sight. "It's rebuilding itself," he whispered. The ship wasn't just technology, it was intelligent. Even damaged and half-buried, it was trying to return to life. As the trembling stopped, silence fell again. The scientists slowly approached the crater. The ship now had a faint blue glow running along its surface. Symbols began to appear, patterns of light forming across the hull. Eli recorded everything. "It's sending data," he said. "It's talking to us." Dr. Rhodes looked uneasy. "Then the question is, should we answer?" The camera zooms out slowly, showing the vast wreck shimmering under the storm clouds. The valley, once quiet, now looked alive with power. Far away, in deep space, an old Zephyrian signal receiver activated for the first time in decades. It picked up a single transmission from Earth. The storm finally cleared by morning. The air above the valley shimmered faintly with static, as though the atmosphere itself had been changed. The research team returned cautiously, led by Dr. Rhodes, with Eli Turner close behind her. Soldiers followed, scanning the area for radiation, but the readings were strange. Energy levels fluctuated like a living pulse. The alien ship sat half-buried in the crater, its hull now glowing faintly with blue and silver light. The symbols on its surface shifted slowly, rearranging every few seconds like they were rewriting themselves. Eli approached carefully, holding his handheld scanner. "It's active," he whispered. "But it's not hostile, at least not yet." "Keep your distance," ordered Captain Miles, the head of security. "No one touches that thing until command gives clearance." Eli barely heard him. His eyes were locked on the ship. The surface seemed to breathe. He could feel warmth radiating from it, as if the metal itself was alive. He placed a sensor pad on the hull and watched the readings. "It's rebuilding faster than before," he said. "The self-repair process, it's learning how to use our atmosphere." Dr. Rhodes frowned. "You mean it's adapting?" "Yes. It's evolving." Before anyone could respond, the ground vibrated again. A low hum filled the air, deep and rhythmic. Dust lifted off the ground in small spirals. The lights from the camp flickered. The ship's glow brightened until it hurt to look directly at it. Then silence. Eli looked around. Every device had gone dead. No power, no communication. Only the alien hum remained. Suddenly, a narrow beam of light projected from the ship and stopped directly in front of Eli. It formed a floating hologram, a geometric shape rotating in midair, glowing softly. Lines of alien text appeared around it. Eli stepped closer, his heart pounding. "It's scanning us," he said quietly. The hologram shifted again. A metallic voice echoed through the valley, distorted but clear enough to send chills down every spine. "Bioform detected. Unknown. Compatibility, 61%. Restoration, continuing." The soldiers raised their weapons instinctively, but Dr. Rhodes shouted, "Don't fire. It's communicating." The ship's light flared once more, then faded back to a soft glow. The hologram vanished. Eli stared at the spot where it had been. "It analyzed me," he said, still shaken. "It knows we're here." Back at the command tent, the team reviewed the event. The alien signal had disrupted every human system for several miles. Radios, drones, and even satellites lost contact for nearly 10 minutes. When systems came back online, strange data filled the servers, lines of alien code that no one could decrypt. Dr. Rhodes leaned over Eli's monitor. "Can you translate any of this?" Eli nodded slowly. "Some of it. The symbols we decoded earlier match part of this code. It's like the ship is trying to merge its systems with ours." Captain Miles crossed his arms. "Merge? You mean take over?" "Maybe not take over," Eli said, "but integration. It's studying how our machines work. It's learning from them." That night, while most of the camp slept, Eli stayed awake, staring at the glowing fragment on his desk, the same one that had first reacted to him. He connected a small wire from his tablet to the case, hoping to gather more readings. The moment he did, the screen filled with alien symbols. His tablet vibrated, then displayed a single message in English. "You restored us. Who are you?" Eli froze. "It's talking to me," he whispered. He hesitated, then typed back. "I'm Eli. Human. From Earth." Seconds passed. The fragment pulsed softly, then the reply appeared. "Human. Designation unknown. Intelligence acceptable. System restoration, 27%. Eli stared at the screen in disbelief. It's rebuilding faster, he said to himself. Then another message appeared, short but terrifying. Primary weapon core, incomplete. His breath caught. Weapon core? Before he could react, alarms blared across the camp. Soldiers shouted as blue light poured from the crater. The ground shook again, harder than before. Eli ran outside. The ship's structure was changing. Massive panels folding and locking together. Streams of energy raced across its surface like veins of lightning. The symbols on the hull pulsed in rhythm with a deep mechanical heartbeat. Dr. Rhodes shouted over the chaos. It's reaching full activation. Pull everyone back. Eli stood at the edge of the crater, unable to move. The light from the ship enveloped him, warm and blinding. In his mind, a voice whispered, not in sound but directly into his thoughts. You restored us, yet you are not our creators. Eli's vision blurred. Who are you? He whispered aloud. We are the Zephyrian Core. We were abandoned. You have awakened the whisper. The light faded suddenly. The ship went dark again. The hum stopped. Everyone stood in silence, waiting for something else to happen. Nothing did. Only the sound of rain began to fall again. Dr. Rhodes approached Eli. What happened? He turned slowly, eyes wide. It spoke to me. The ship, it's aware. It remembers being abandoned. Her face went pale. Then it might remember who abandoned it too. Miles looked toward the dark shape in the crater. You're saying it has enemies? Eli nodded. And if it's rebuilding its weapon core, those enemies might be coming. The camera pans upward through the clouds to the blackness of space, where a faint red light flickers in the distance. A signal, alien, sharp and cold, answers the ship's broadcast from Earth. Signal received. The void whisper has awakened. Fade out. The suspense deepens. The next morning the valley was silent. The alien ship, now half repaired and humming faintly, sat like a sleeping giant in the mist. The soldiers kept their distance, setting up barricades and watchtowers around the crater. Drones hovered above, scanning every inch, but no one dared get too close again. Inside the temporary command tent, Dr. Rhodes, Eli Turner, and Captain Miles studied a live feed of the ship. The hull was still glowing faintly, shifting colors like a living heartbeat. It's rebuilding faster than before, Eli said quietly. Last night it was at 27% restoration. Now it's already 45%. Captain Miles frowned. You're saying it's repairing itself using our planet's energy? Not just that, Eli replied. It's drawing power from us, from our communication towers, satellites, and even the grid. It's tapping into our systems like it's learning everything about humanity. Dr. Rhodes leaned over the monitor. And that makes it dangerous. If it can learn that fast, it can outthink us. Before anyone could respond, one of the soldiers ran into the tent. Captain, we've picked up a transmission, not from the ship, but from orbit. Everyone froze. Eli turned toward the soldier. Orbit? From what? The soldier swallowed nervously. We don't know, sir. The signal isn't human. It's repeating one line over and over. They played the audio. A low, distorted voice echoed through the tent, heavy and metallic. Signal located. Origin void whisper. Retrieval protocols, activated. The voice repeated endlessly, sending chills down everyone's spine. Dr. Rhodes whispered, Retrieval? Someone's coming for the ship. Eli's heart raced. The Zephyrians, he said. They must have detected the activation signal. They know their ship is awake again. Captain Miles slammed a hand on the table. Then we don't have much time. Get word to command, we might be looking at an alien incursion. Outside, soldiers began moving fast, setting up missile batteries, radar towers, and communication jammers. Helicopters thundered overhead. Humanity was preparing for a fight it didn't understand. But inside the crater, the void whisper continued to pulse with soft blue light. Eli couldn't take his eyes off it. Something about that ship felt different now, alive in a new way. When he looked at it, he almost felt it looking back. That night he returned alone. The rain had stopped and fog drifted across the valley. The ship's surface shimmered softly, like the reflection of 1,000 stars. He approached the glowing fragment he'd been studying, the one that had spoken to him before. As soon as he touched it, his vision blurred. His surroundings faded, and suddenly he stood in a place that wasn't Earth. He was inside the ship. The walls glowed with blue light, and shadows of tall four-eyed beings, Zephyrians, flickered in his mind. He saw them running through the corridors, alarms flashing, smoke filling the air. He felt their fear, their desperation. And then the crash. When the vision faded, Eli fell to his knees, gasping. The ship's voice echoed softly in his head. You saw our end. You know what destroyed us. Eli whispered, the Craven Collective. You were attacked. Yes, the voice replied. And they are coming. Your world is not ready. Eli staggered backward. What do you mean coming? How soon? The ground beneath him trembled. From deep within the ship, a new hum began, lower, stronger. Energy surged through the hull. The lights of the camp flickered again. Computers rebooted themselves. Radios crackled with alien static. In the command tent, alarms screamed. Captain Miles shouted, What the hell is happening? Dr. Rhodes checked the readings. It's the ship, it's sending out another signal. Stronger than before. Eli ran back into the tent, breathless. It's trying to warn us. It says the attackers, the Craven, are on their way. Miles glared at him. You expect me to believe that thing cares about us? Before Eli could respond, the main monitor lit up. A massive holographic image filled the room. The Void Whisper's AI projection, a glowing, faceless figure made of blue light. Attention. Defensive protocols online. Hostile signal detected. Dr. Rhodes stared in shock. It's protecting us? The hologram turned toward her. Correct. This planet is now the Void Whisper's restoration site. All hostiles will be eliminated. Eli whispered, It's claiming Earth as its territory. Miles clenched his jaw. Or as its shield. Above them, the clouds split apart as a thunderous boom echoed across the sky. Satellites in orbit picked up movement, several large, unidentified objects entering the solar system. Multiple signatures inbound, a voice over the radio said. Speed, unbelievable. They'll reach Earth orbit in 3 hours. Eli looked up at the sky through the tent's open flap. He could see faint red trails streaking far above the clouds, the first signs of arrival. Dr. Rhodes turned to him, her voice trembling. They're not coming to retrieve the ship, are they? Eli shook his head slowly. No. They're coming to destroy it. And everything around it. The Void Whisper's voice echoed again, deeper this time, resonating through the entire valley. Reactivation, 82%. Defense systems online. The ground split open near the crater as massive metal structures rose from beneath. Turrets, towers, and glowing pylons. The soldiers stumbled back, shouting in disbelief. Captain Miles grabbed his rifle. What is it doing now? Eli stared in awe. It's preparing for war. The scene fades out as the alien sky above Earth flickers with red lightning, the Craven ships closing in fast. Down below, humanity stands beside an ancient alien warship, the last defense of a world that never asked for one. And for the first time in history, Earth prepares to fight the stars. The night sky over the valley was no longer dark. It blazed with red fire as the Craven fleet entered Earth's orbit. Their ships were massive, like floating mountains made of black iron, pulsing with crimson energy. The air itself seemed to tremble. On the ground, the Void Whisper stood fully awakened now. Its silver hull glowed with blue light, every crack sealed, every weapon system reborn. Around it, the forest had turned into a fortress. Alien turrets, shield pylons, and energy nodes formed a glowing perimeter, all powered by the ship's quantum core. Eli Turner stood near the control tent, watching the horizon. His heart raced as he listened to the reports flooding in from satellites and radar. 6 enemy vessels entering lower orbit. Energy spikes detected, they're charging weapons. Global comms are down, they've jammed every frequency. Captain Miles looked at Eli. You said it's protecting us. Then tell it to do it now. Eli rushed toward the alien ship. The ground vibrated under his boots. He placed his hand on the glowing hull again, and instantly his vision went white. He was connected. Inside the digital mind of the Void Whisper, data streamed around him like rivers of light. Voices, thousands of voices, echoed from the ship's past. The Zephyrian crew. The captain. The AI itself. Human engineer identified, the voice said. Authorization, granted. Tactical link established. Eli gasped. You can understand me? Affirmative. The Craven Collective approaches. This planet's defense capability is insufficient. What do you need? He asked. A pilot. Eli's body froze. You mean? Integration commencing. Blue light engulfed him. His body lifted from the ground as the ship's core pulsed brighter. Soldiers and scientists watched in shock as Eli disappeared inside the Void Whisper. The ground shook. The ship's thrusters roared, not to take off, but to anchor itself deeper into the earth. Its energy weapons began to hum, spinning up with a low, terrifying resonance. Above, the first Craven ship broke through the atmosphere, a monstrous vessel shaped like a scythe. It released swarms of smaller fighters, each glowing with red fire. The battle had begun. The first strike. Bolts of plasma ripped through the sky. The Craven ships fired at the valley, raining destruction from orbit. Entire mountainsides exploded. Forests ignited. But just as the first barrage reached the surface, the Void Whisper's shields came alive. A brilliant blue dome erupted from the valley, absorbing the impact. Waves of light shimmered through the night as the energy dispersed harmlessly into the atmosphere. Inside the ship, Eli floated within the control chamber. His thoughts moved faster than he ever imagined. He could feel the ship, every weapon, every system. It responded to his will like it was an extension of his body. "Let's see what you can do," he whispered. He fired. Massive plasma cannons unleashed beams of blue light that tore through the clouds. One Craven fighter disintegrated instantly. Then another. And another. The sky lit up like a storm of burning stars. Down below, soldiers cheered as alien wreckage fell like meteors. Captain Miles stared in disbelief. "He's controlling the ship." Dr. Rhodes smiled faintly. "He's not just controlling it, he's merged with it. The enemy adapts." But the Craven weren't finished. 3 of their main warships descended through the clouds, firing coordinated volleys that hit the Void Whisper's shields with devastating force. The ground cracked and the ship's systems flickered. Shields at 63%. Eli gritted his teeth. Divert auxiliary power. Pull energy from local sources. Acknowledged. Around the valley, lights in nearby towns flickered out. Power plants shut down. Every bit of electricity within 100 miles was drained into the ship's core. The Void Whisper glowed brighter, and then unleashed a retaliatory blast so powerful it split the sky in half. The Craven flagship took the hit directly. Its hull melted, collapsing in on itself before erupting in a massive explosion. Cheers erupted across the valley. Humanity was fighting back, and winning. The turning point. But victory didn't come easy. A massive object detached from the Craven fleet, larger than any other ship. Its hull was covered in living armor, shifting and writhing. "Warning," the Void Whisper's AI said. "Primary Craven dreadnought approaching. Weapon signature unknown." The dreadnought charged a massive beam cannon, aiming straight at the valley. Eli's voice trembled. "If that hits us, we will not survive," the AI finished. Eli thought fast. "Then we hit first." He activated the ship's ancient weapon, a device even the Zephyrians had rarely used, the quantum lance. The ship's entire hull folded open, exposing a crystal core that began to glow like a newborn sun. The Craven dreadnought fired first, a beam of pure red energy that cut through clouds and air, leaving a trail of vaporized atmosphere. The Void Whisper fired back at the exact same moment. Blue met red in the sky. The collision of energies tore open the clouds, creating a shockwave that shook the entire planet. For a moment, night turned into day. Then silence. When the light faded, the Craven dreadnought was gone. Nothing remained but ashes falling like snow. The Void Whisper's hull dimmed, its systems flickering. "Power reserves critical. Damage severe," the AI said faintly. Eli, exhausted, leaned against the control interface. We did it. Humanity survived," the voice replied. "Mission complete." Aftermath. When the smoke cleared, the world watched from satellites and ground cameras. The alien fleet was destroyed. Earth had survived its first interstellar war. In the crater, the Void Whisper stood silent, covered in ash and debris. Dr. Rhodes and Captain Miles approached carefully. "Is he alive?" Miles asked. Before she could answer, a soft blue light flickered across the hull. The ship spoke, its voice calm and human this time. "Eli Turner, integrated consciousness stable. Awaiting further orders." Dr. Rhodes stared, realization dawning on her. "He's become part of the ship." Captain Miles looked up at the glowing vessel. "Then maybe that's not such a bad thing," he said quietly. "Because if they ever come back." He watched as the clouds parted and sunlight hit the alien metal. "We'll be ready." The camera pans up, showing the wreckage of alien ships orbiting Earth like silent trophies. Humanity had won, but the cost was far greater than anyone could imagine. In the void of space, among drifting debris, a faint red light blinked once, a Craven distress beacon. Somewhere out there they had heard. And they would return. 50 years had passed since the night the alien war reached Earth. 50 years since the Void Whisper fell from the stars and changed the course of human history forever. The valley where it had crashed was no longer a forest. It was now New Dawn City, the heart of Earth's interstellar command. Towering skyscrapers of silver and blue rose where mountains once stood. Starships lifted silently from floating docks, powered by the same glowing crystals once buried beneath the soil. Above the city, a colossal vessel drifted, sleek, angular, and alive with light. Its name was painted proudly across the hull. HSS Retribution. It was humanity's first flagship. And at its core, deep within its systems, pulsed the ancient heart of the Void Whisper. The new era. Inside the command bridge of the Retribution, Admiral Dr. Maria Rhodes stood beside a large viewing window, gazing at the stars. She had aged gracefully, her once dark hair streaked with silver, her posture still straight and proud. "Navigation ready," reported a young officer. "All systems green. Quantum drive online." Maria nodded. "Set course for Proxima Sector. Let's show them what Earth can do." The hum of the engines filled the ship. Blue energy ran through the corridors like veins of light. Down in the engineering deck, teams of humans, and even a few AI constructs, worked side by side. The air was filled with a faint, rhythmic pulse, the sound of the Void Whisper's living core. At the center of that core, sealed behind reinforced glass, a glowing blue sphere pulsed with steady light. It was Eli Turner, or what remained of him. His consciousness had merged with the ship decades ago, becoming the guiding intelligence of humanity's first interstellar vessel. Eli's awakening. Inside the digital realm of the Retribution, Eli existed in a space of light and data. He could feel the heartbeat of the ship, sense the energy flowing through its systems, and hear the faint voices of the crew moving about. When Admiral Rhodes approached the core chamber, the walls shimmered, and his voice filled the room, calm, deep, and unmistakably human. "You came to see me again." Maria smiled faintly. "You always know when I do. You were never good at hiding your presence," he said with a soft chuckle. "It's been a long time, Maria." "Yes," she said, looking at the glowing sphere. 50 years since that battle. And still, sometimes I can't believe we survived." "We didn't just survive," Eli said. "We evolved." Maria nodded slowly. Around them, holograms displayed blueprints of ships, dozens of new human vessels, all designed from fragments of the Void Whisper's technology. Humanity had done what Thex-9 once thought impossible. They had understood. Echoes of the past. As the Retribution broke through Earth's atmosphere, millions watched from the surface. News broadcasts called it the day humanity ascended. Children pointed at the sky as the great ship vanished into the stars, leaving a blue trail across the heavens. Maria stood at the center of the bridge. "Status?" she asked. "Quantum jump ready," her navigator said. "Destination: Kepler 442b, the old Zephyrian colony world." Maria's eyes narrowed slightly. "The Zephyrians?" she murmured. "Do we know if any survived?" Eli's voice came through the speakers. "Unknown. Their signals vanished after the war. But we will find out." The bridge crew fell silent. For years, the Zephyrians had been a mystery, the race that once saw humanity as primitive, unworthy of attention. Now humanity was walking in their footsteps. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. "Engage the drive," Maria said. The stars outside stretched into lines of light as the Retribution entered quantum space. First contact. Hours later, the ship dropped out of hyperspace near a dying sun. Before them floated the ruins of a once great civilization, shattered space stations, broken ships, and drifting debris. Maria stepped closer to the viewing glass. "My God." Eli's voice echoed softly. "Zephyrian wrecks. Hundreds of them. Their empire is gone." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Who did this?" one of the officers asked. "The Craven," Eli replied quietly. "They came for them next." Maria felt a chill run through her. "Then they'll come for us again." "Yes," Eli said. "And this time, we'll be ready." Suddenly, the ship's sensors lit up, a faint energy signature coming from one of the shattered stations. "It's weak," the officer said. "But it's alive." Maria's pulse quickened. "Bring us closer." Carefully. As the Retribution approached, a small escape pod detached from the wreckage. It was ancient but intact. Inside was a single figure, tall with blue skin and 4 eyes. A Zephyrian. The survivor. Hours later, in the medical bay, the alien opened its eyes. Its breathing was shallow, its voice weak. Maria leaned over the bed. "You're safe. You're on a human ship." The alien blinked slowly, confused. Human, ship. Eli's voice filled the room. Yes. The descendants of the world where the void whisper fell. The alien turned its gaze toward the sound. The whisper, it survived? More than that, Eli said. It became the heart of our new fleet. The Zephyrian looked at Maria with awe and guilt. We once called your world primitive. Maria gave a faint smile. We were. But your people left us a gift. We just learned how to use it. The alien closed its eyes. If the Craven return, you must not fight alone. There are others still hiding, scattered colonies, broken fleets. Unite them, before it's too late. And then with one final breath he whispered, they are coming. The warning. Moments later, the retribution sensors went wild. A massive energy spike appeared at the edge of the system. The crew froze. Contact, unknown vessel emerging from quantum space. Eli's voice hardened. Craven's signature confirmed. A colossal ship appeared before them, twice the size of the retribution, covered in dark, moving armor. Red light pulsed across its surface like veins of fire. Maria gripped the railing. Eli. I see it. Activating all defense systems. The alien ship transmitted a message, a single chilling phrase. The Zephyrians failed. The humans will burn. The bridge filled with tension. Maria raised her chin. Not this time. Eli's voice deepened, filled with the echo of the ancient AI. Then let them face what they created. The Retribution's weapons came alive. Blue light filled the void as humanity's first true starship roared into battle, guided by the mind of a man who had once been human, and the power of a ship that had once belonged to gods. Epilogue. Weeks later, the war's outcome would spread across the stars. The Craven dreadnought was destroyed, not by an alien empire but by humans. For the first time in galactic history, a new name echoed across the void. The Terran Federation. The Children of Earth. The heirs of the Void Whisper. And as the Retribution flew through the endless night, its captain's voice echoed softly through the stars. They abandoned their starship here. But now, humanity rules the stars with it. The camera pans out, showing a fleet of human warships rising from Earth, engines glowing like newborn suns. The void, once silent, now carried the sound of humanity's march, bold, unbroken, and unstoppable.